Hello, it's Melissa here, and I'm back with the final process video that I have for my October Clique Kit. So for this one, I was using scraps, and I really wanted to make a layout that had some mixed media and I guess just playing around and experimenting and seeing what I liked. So here I'm just showing you the bits and pieces that I have left, and there are some specific items in here that I really wanted to use, including that kind of tie-dyed tag. I also wanted to use that paint dabber, and I recently got a silhouette and it's cameo. So I went back and cut the exclusive cut files for this kit, and so I'm a bit late to the game with them, but because I cut them, I absolutely wanted to use them with the kit, so I'm using that Cherish title. So here I'm doing the packaging technique to start with, and it's one that we all do and we all love. And then I'm coming in with some colour shine sprinkles in the darker pink colour. And now I'm using a stencil, and it's one of my favourite stencils, and it's from Happy Scatter, and I got it from Jennifer Grace when I guest designed for her in May of this year. And so I'm just adding some triangles, trying not to overthink it, but wanting full coverage of the triangles that I do paint. Here is some tissue paper, and I just collect tissue paper whenever I get presents, or the kids get presents or whatever. If there's anything left over, I just keep it. And I like the softness that it adds behind my photos as a layer, and I know a lot of people do this, and I've been doing it for a while as well. So the best way to deal with tissue paper is to staple it and then put tape, and I think double-sided tape works the best, in between the layers, and that way it's all held together. So it looks really soft and pretty around the outside of your photo, but underneath your photo you've got loads of adhesive. And that really helps, I think, when it comes to adhering the mat down onto the page. So this is a photo of my youngest, and if you watched my last video for my Making Lemonade series, that was called Pattern Inspiration, I scrapped a couple of photos that were smaller than this and were from the same event, or I guess it is an event really, her playing in the rain, or playing in the puddles after the rain. So I actually scrapped the other page second. This was the first one I scrapped, but I wanted to get that video up first. So I'm finally getting around to doing the voiceover for this. I made this probably a couple of weeks ago. So now I'm coming in with some texture paste, and I'm using the stencil again, and it's just plain white texture paste, and it's just another layer, and probably a bit more subtle, but because it's raised up, it just provides some nice texture. And so adding a few more triangles. And in the past I can get quite finicky about this. When it comes to putting modeling paste or texture paste down, I want to make sure that I don't have any random bits kind of hanging around. So try not to think about it too much and try to be a bit more random with it. So that's what I'm doing there. And there were a couple of bits where I had to come back in and complete the triangle and then scrape off the random parts of triangles. So here I've got my photo. That's the cut that I did. I must say I'm loving having a silhouette. I just need to find some time to actually spend learning how to use it more. And so now I'm using a little one of those triangles, and that's a printable, and they come in, I think it's an octagon shape, and you can cut them apart or leave them as an octagon, and I quite liked having them cut apart and then having them feature as kind of like flags on the photo. And then I needed to trim off a little bit more of the tissue paper. This paper is probably one of my favourite papers, and I've mostly used it as just solid paper, but I wanted to make sure I made a layout that did feature some of the triangles, so I cut out my favourite ones, and mostly it's probably the pieces that, the triangles that actually have three sides to them and haven't been cut off on the edge. Now, just want to say, please excuse my voice. I've got really bad hay fever at the moment. I've had hay fever only 3 times in my life, and I don't know what it is about this season, but we've had a lot of winds, and it's spring here in Queenstown, New Zealand, and I think whatever pollen is flying around this year is just really, really bad. So that's why I sound like I've got a cold. Part of me wishes it was a cold, because then it would go away and hope heaps better. But anyway, so while everything was drying, I wanted to add just a bit more to this cut. I did think about leaving it plain white, but then I thought I wanted to do something to the word sparkle, so I just sprayed it with the same colour shine that I dropped my mist drops on, and I can't remember the colour, but it's like a dark pink, and it looks incredibly red, but once it dries a lot more subtle, and of course it has a shine to it. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, you would know that I posted some of the bits and pieces I wanted to use for this layout probably several weeks ago now, but when I saw that exclusive cut apart, it says that rain is just confetti. Was it? Yeah, just confetti falling from the sky. I knew it was perfect for this photo of Brielle, because as soon as it stopped raining, she had to go outside and play. And of course I let her go, because you're only a child once, and it's fun to go out and play in the water. So I knew I had to just, no matter what, get this little card onto the page. And so it took a bit to work out where to put it, and you'll see in a few moments that I'll place it down. And I also, as I said before, wanted to get some of these triangles onto the layout. And I think it works really well, because I've got that stencil where I've put the paint triangles and the texture paste triangles. So I had a bit of trouble deciding where to put these, but in the end I've kind of grouped them close to my photo. And as you can see, I've got three main areas of texture and embellishment, from the right to the left and then back down to the right. So here I'm just gluing them down, and Tombow Mono Multi was the best adhesive for this, because of the texture paints and the paint. Sorry, I'm mixing my words a bit today. I think it's my blocked nose that's causing a bit of confusion. So I'm just going through, I'm wanting to use as many as I can, but I also don't want to overpower. And I'm just using a bit of weight of my stapler to help that glue just to adhere them down. Now that was quite a big triangle, and too big to take away from the scale of everything else on this page aside from the photo, so I've left that off, and I will use it for another layout. So here you can see that that's a photo in a little frame, and that's also an exclusive silhouette cut file, and you'll know that that didn't make it onto this layout, it made it onto the other one. So I was thinking about using it because it shows the other side of her, so it shows her face, but in the end it just wouldn't work, and I really wanted to feature this photo on its own. So this is the tag that I was talking about, and it's really, really pretty, and I don't know why, but sometimes I find it really hard to use a certain item, and it's not because I didn't love it, because I do absolutely love it. I think it's because it's so pretty that I almost didn't know how to use it. So here I'm just playing around. I knew I wanted to have that cut apart card near it, and so it's just a case of working out where it looks best. And at this stage I did think about leaving the tag there, and so I'm just adding a bit more to the top cluster, but you'll see that I'll move it soon as well. And at this stage probably still considering using that second photo. So this is where the tag ends up on the left side, and I'm still fussing with that card. And it's interesting watching myself, but I put the double-sided tape on the card even though I didn't know where it was going to go. Now this tag, because it's fabric, needed a bit more than just double-sided tape, and I'm always thinking about how my layouts are going to survive in the future in my albums. So I've added some glue as well, and now I've decided to definitely put this this little card here, but I needed to cut some of it off. I think because I'd adhered that photo quite close to the edge on the tissue paper. So yes, I've covered up some of the tag, but I don't mind because you can still see that it's a gradient of colour on there. And I love the string that's attached to it too. So there I'm having one more go at putting the second photo on. I really did want to make it work, but you can see that it's just not. And I didn't want to cover up any of the triangles that I'd stuck down either, because I only had a limited amount that I could cut off that page of scraps that I had left. So this is the glassine bag that had some of the embellishments that came with the kit, and I just ruffled it, and you would have seen some of my other layouts that I've made, whether it's been on YouTube or on my blog or on Clique Kit's Facebook page, but you would have seen that I've used this a few times, and so I want to use up my scraps, and I just like the way it looks. It's quite subtle because it's tone on tone with the white, but it works well with the tissue paper just to provide a bit of more texture at the top of my photo. These tassels are so beautiful. I'm so glad I got the embellishment add-on with tassels, and definitely loving stapling them on, and I've just put a couple of staples to adhere it. And I think because I've stapled them, it shows that they're attached and it gives a bit more movement. So if I had done this layout again, I would have backed the cutout the way I would have backed that with something, or even maybe put some of that paint on a piece of white cardstock and put it behind, but I didn't, and that's probably the only regret with this layout, is that you can see some of the pink triangle poking through, but can't live in regret, really, can you? It's only a scrapbooking page at the end of the day, and it's one of my first silhouette, one of my first plays with my silhouette, so I was super stoked to even be able to cut it, to be honest. So I did think about coming back in and trying to fix it, but it's well and truly adhered, so can't do anything about it now. Just have to roll with it, and in the end I'm happy with how it turns out. Now, I did think about leaving these wood veneers plain, but I think introducing the natural colour was just a bit much, and I like the fact that the pink really plays off the pink in your top, so that's why I've coloured them pink. And I've got them in 3 positions just to flow down the embellishment clusters. So now I've got these beautiful, they're like sequins but they don't have holes, so I just say that they're confetti, and I'm just sprinkling them on the page, and they're like the embellishment that never run out. I mean, I know they will because there's a limited number in there, but I just love the amount that we got, and I've used them on almost every layout that I've made. So now I'm adding my journaling, and I've just put it underneath the word sparkle, and I can't quite remember, but I think I just talk about her enjoying playing after the rain, and I think I'm nearly done. So I'm just grabbing my Hydro Swap Gold Colour Shine, and I think I've given it a shake and then put it aside, and now I'm looking at adding that final little printable triangle, and it was a bit of a decision on where to put it, but I quite like the fact that it's floating there, and I've added an exclusive flare on top of it. So there you can see the final layout and the colour shine. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate all your lovely comments, and I'll be back soon.